It's moving. It's alive.
Alright, I think it's muscle day for the monster. If that makes no sense to you at all, go back and watch episode 3, where we showed how we're planning to turn spinny spins into slidey slides. Our spinny spins today are going to be provided by Technic ClearPath motors. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked. Spinny spins come from all kinds of motors. Are we charting again? Crap, here we go again. Can we at least make them like fancier charts? Awesome. Alright, first level of spin is provided by us, human beings. They have the advantage of being very low cost, but only provide so much torque. Let's say 1 max ox power. Accuracy is questionable though, especially with us. Have you seen how I spell things? Basic low-cost DC or AC motors are only marginally easier to get along with than people, can be pretty torquey, but have no idea where they're going. Just like this joke. In other words, they have no positional accuracy. I guess just like this joke. Yeah, nailed it. They're still very useful for a lot of things, and I'm sure you're going to see us use them in the future. Steppers, on the other hand, are like a loyal puppy dog. They make fun noises, you can tell them what to do, and they at least pretend to do it. But if they didn't understand, or if something got in their way, they're not about to tell you about it. They're just going to keep drooling and waiting for the next instruction. I'm saying they can miss steps and they have no positional feedback to the machine. You got that from my puppy description, right? Also, they're a little slow. Servos have nothing to do with dogs, thankfully. They are expensive, which I guess dogs sometimes are too, but they can be difficult to command. I'm thinking about cats for some reason. And have fantastic torque, like a bear or something. Okay, this is getting really weird. Let's just talk about motors, like adults. Adults that talk about motors. What they really are is a DC or AC motor with a very high resolution tachometer attached. Instead of 1 pulse per revolution, they can have tens of thousands or more. Servos can be hard to tune, the controllers are usually complicated and expensive, but they do have one awesome feature. They're like a llama. Dang it! I mean, they have closed loop operation, meaning they provide constant feedback for their position and rotation, sometimes at very, very high accuracy. And they're silent, like a turtle. Okay, I'll stop. Point being, servos are great, but difficult. Technic, the company that supplies the ClearPath servos, are doing a really good job ruining everything I just said about servos. For one, our machine is pretty sure they're actually steppers. We send them a step and direction pulse, just like a stepper. They move in some increment, just like a stepper, except really, really scary fast. And if you dare to tell them to go too fast, they'll let you know instead of just losing their position. Now let me show you the complicated tuning process. You do that, and your machine will make a bunch of noises and wiggle about a bit, but it does that all by itself and comes up with some pretty optimal tuning with us having to not read a phone book of documentation. That leaves one thing, the price. Servos are expensive. Don't get me wrong, these aren't cheap either, but if you add up the motors, controllers, and power supplies, the difference between them and a stepper package is not that big. Alright, full disclosure, Technic gave us an awesome deal on these motors because we qualify for their educational video program, which is what we're doing right now, but it in no way bars us from giving an honest and open review of their product, which we're gonna do. But first, I want to talk about John. John's an engineer at Technic, and he also does technical support. I mean, when was the last time another company let the engineers talk to the customers?
Engineers are not good at dealing with customers.
You know why every company should do this? Because John actually knows how the system works, and when you put too much weight on the Z-axis and everything starts acting weird, John can totally figure out what's going wrong from like a million miles away, tune it enough for it to work, and math up what motor you should have bought in the first place, which then Technic totally lets you exchange for free as long as it's within 90 days. And that is even better than llamas. There, I said it. Thank you, John. You are the llama's legs. Okay, let's put these things on the machine. This part's great. It says the following behavior is normal. High-pitched squeals, low-pitched grunts, fast, abrupt moves that ring, slow, uneven-looking moves, buzzing, pauses of unequal lengths up to 20 seconds, short moves, long moves up to 90% of the auto-tune area you've set. All right. Believe it or not, that's normal. All right, guys, if you can't tell already, we are super excited about these motors. I mean, they're crazy strong for their size. The amount of noise they make is easily overpowered by the sound of the ways and the ball screws on this machine, so that's not really even a factor. And they were pretty easy to set up.
Yeah, I mean, the worst problem that we had was because we had too much weight on the Z-axis and too much friction, and John was able to plug into our machine from somewhere on the other side of the country and figure out what motor we were supposed to have.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what other things would we do besides these motors?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Technic doesn't have the corner on the entire market. There are some other servos kind of in this price range and size. And to be honest, I've heard pretty good things about those too. But honestly, with the amount of awesome customer support that we got from Technic, I'd have a hard time shopping anywhere else.
Gotta agree.
All right. See you guys.
I was hoping maybe we could have a little dialogue about that.
All right, Reed asks, why no breakers, contactors, EMI filters, fuses, or ground on the back panel? Also, are you using DC bus bars for AC connections? Those are some good questions. Let's take a look at that. All right, we'll start with the easy one, these bus bars. These aren't AC, actually. These are for ground and enable on logic level, so no worries there. You asked about the breakers. It's true we didn't technically add any breakers to this box. We are sort of relying on the house breakers for this. They are appropriately sized for the amount of wattage we're pulling. And the 220 and 110 volt lines are totally separate, and each one is only really running one high voltage, or I should say high power component in the thing. So the 220 is going to the VFD for the spindle, and the 110 is going into the servo motor controller. And both of those are smart and have their own breakers. There is some low voltage power stuff on this side that is all going through this power supply here, which also has its own internal breaker. So shouldn't have any worries there. If anything does happen to catch fire on this thing, that's why it's in a big steel box. You did say to ditch these Romax wires. I kind of agree. They're kind of ugly and probably not the right thing, so we may upgrade that at some point. I think the only other thing you mentioned here was about EMI filters. We haven't had a problem with EMI just yet. I think it helps that we have everything spaced out nice and neat in this big box. If we do start running into that problem, we'll have to address it. One thing I did sort of do to mitigate this, this entire lane here is low voltage and signal. This is the high voltage and high power, so we do have some separation there. All right, Stan says, watching two smart dudes figuring stuff out in a shop full of tools is my pornography. Gross, but I get you. All right, Arik asks if we still have the broken vise, and if we do, to check out Fireball Tools' channel, because he just built an awesome one. And yeah, we still do have the broken vise. We're making it work somehow. But yeah, as soon as I saw Fireball Tools' video on his vise, I really wanted to build one, so that's probably gonna happen. All right, EdgeEffect says, it wouldn't be Physics Anonymous if your tangents didn't go off on tangents, or if you finished anything. That's totally unfair, Edge Effect. We finished the... Well, we definitely finished the... Alright, and Alexander says, I have nothing smart to say, just hoping to get my comments read on the end of the video. Keep up the good work. I'm probably going to regret setting this precedent, but what's going on, Alexander? Alright, a few guys were asking about the Death Metal Unicorn t-shirts and if they were coming, and I really want to make them. Ryan needs a little convincing, so if you guys are serious about wanting one, why don't you comment down below and maybe put the size of t-shirt you'd want, and if there's enough of you, maybe we'll make some. Alright, I got a ton of comments about the 3/4 inch shank thing on the last video that should have been an inch. Yes, I probably would have noticed that if I hadn't been staring at the screen for like 9 hours straight editing that video. Go figure. Mitchell says, so I have but one criticism. At the end of the video, you didn't let the Metal Unicorn outro run for long enough.